$2 million is a lot of money, but how much retirement spending can it actually support? What happens after we integrate Canada Pension Plan and old age security benefits? What happens when we include income taxes or maybe old age security clawbacks? And what if we want to spend more in early retirement? What if we want to front load spending in the go-go years in early retirement? What does that look like? In this video, we're going to create a retirement plan from scratch for a couple with $2 million in financial assets. We're going to build their plan together and then we're going to improve it. You might be surprised at how much we can affect the outcome of their retirement plan just by choosing certain decumulation options. This is going to be a fascinating look at somebody else's retirement plan. This is going to be one of a series of case studies that we do on the channel, so make sure you like and subscribe and make sure you add a comment with any ideas for case studies that you want us to explore. So here's the situation. We've got Jim and Julie. Jim and Julie are both age 60 this year. They retired at age 60, so they just retired a few months ago earlier in the year. They want to spend $8,000 a month in early retirement, but they would like to increase that if they can. So they'd like to spend more in their go-go years if their plan can support it. Now they've been living off cash and savings. They had some cash and savings built up before they retired. They've been living off that until now, but they realize that they don't have a decumulation plan. They've got no idea to where to pull from, how much to pull, what sort of tax they're going to pay. And so that's what we're going to help them build right now. Now, their assets include a house worth $1.2 million. There's no debt here, no mortgage, no debt on the property. They've got TFSAs, two TFSAs worth a combined $380,000. And they've got registered accounts, so RSP, spousal RSP, LIRAs, worth a combined $1.6 million, just a little bit more. So registered assets, $1.6 million. Their asset allocation is 80-20, 80% equities, 20% fixed income, typical growth portfolio, and their investment fees are 2%. Now, let's go and build their plan together. We're going to build their plan using the advice platform. If you're like Jim and Julie and you don't have a retirement plan yet, go to advice.ca. You can get a retirement plan started for just $9 a month or $49 for the year. Click the For Clients button here. Click the Start Planning button to start your retirement plan. Again, it's just $9 a month or $49 for the year. This includes the software platform, the AI strategies that we're going to use, as well as a community forum for support where you can ask questions and get help building your plan. And we do bi-monthly webinars as well. So we do webinars around retirement planning case studies and just best practices or open office hours where you can ask questions. If you don't have a retirement plan, it's time to build one. Go to advice.ca and get one started. Now let's go back to the platform and let's get this plan started. We're going to use the simple mode option. So we're going to go through, we're going to choose simple on all of these discovery and foundation sections. This just reduces the amount of information that we need to add here into the platform. At the moment, Jim and Julie, well, they don't have any income. They're retired. So we don't have any earned income that we need to add here from employment. We are going to change the age range of this snapshot though, because we do have some longevity concerns. We're just going to reduce it to 93. It is fairly typical for a couple to reach their early 90s, at least one partner in a couple. So to be safe, we are still going to have a 93 life expectancy. So that's it for income, very simple. For expenses, again, we're going to change this income snapshot here, expenses snapshot. We're going to change it to 93 as well, but we're going to add some expenses. Now in simple mode, we just need to add the total expenses that they want to aim for. We're going to say $4,000 a month each, $8,000 a month total. And we're not going to enter any savings and investment contributions. If we can add to the TFSA, we're going to use the AI strategies to help us figure that out. Now, one thing we do want to do is add some income phases. So let's actually change the name of this one and call it early retirement. We could call it the go-go years. We're going to say that that goes until age 75. So that's our 60 to 75 after-tax spending goal. Let's make a copy of this one. We're going to call it mid-retirement, or maybe the slow-go years. And we're going to say that that goes from 76 until 85. And we're actually going to change the spending in this phase. So we're just going to say that they drop by $1,000 a month in total, $500 a month each. So now we've got $7,000 a month. This is just the starting point for us. We will see how much extra spending we can add using the AI strategies. Let's add one more phase though. Let's make a copy of this one. Let's call it late retirement. And let's say that that goes from 86 all the way to that 93. So now we've got our 3 phases here. We're going up until age 93. Oh, and we forgot to change the expenses here. We're going to drop it again by another $500. So we're going to make it $6,000 a month. Still $72,000 a year in that last phase. Still a fairly healthy spending amount, but definitely less than that go-go phase. Now we'll see if we can add more. That was one of Jim and Julie's questions, is can we add more retirement spending in that early retirement phase? We're going to do that using those AI strategies. Cash flow, we don't have any detail here because we didn't do a detailed cash flow mapping, but we will add some asset information. So again, let's choose simple mode. Let's say we've got $35,000 in cash. This is what they've been living on, but it is being depleted quite quickly. So they need to figure out where they're going to be pulling from in retirement. No TFSA savings. They're using it as an investment account. We've got $850,000 in registered assets for Jim here. We've got, I think it's $160,000 or so for Julie. And Julie's also got a spousal RSP that Jim's been contributing to. So that was a huge asset for them because now they can split income in that early retirement phase. Remember, they're retiring at age 60, so they've got 5 years until age 65 when they can split their RIF withdrawals. So that spousal RSP is actually going to be a real advantage for them. Now we've got TFSA investment balances here. So this is an investment account. They've been using it to grow their retirement assets. They don't have any non-registered. So actually we're going to just leave that 0, but they might need it in the future. And actually Julie's got a really small locked-in retirement account. So we're going to add that there as well. So total assets, when we include the cash, just a hair over $2 million. Now let's take a look here. So we've got vehicle value, we've got $50,000, and we've got that home we talked about, 1.2 million. We do want to enter some RSP TFSA contribution room. Jim's got some left over from the last year of work. Julie's got nothing. We have no contributions we've made, but we do have that TFSA contribution room that they haven't used yet this year. So we're going to add that there as well. That's it. That's all we have to enter for assets. No debts that we need to worry about, so that's easy. Net worth, we've got a summary here, which is great. Insurance, we're going to flip to simple mode. We have no insurance that we need to enter, nothing to worry about there. And for tax and benefits, that's going to be important. So let's flip to simple mode. From an old age security perspective, both Jim and Julie have been living in Canada their entire life. So between 18 and 65, they're going to have more than the required 40 years to get maximum old age security. But that's an important factor if you perhaps spend some time out of Canada. And for CPP benefits, well, Jim's going to get pretty close to the maximum. $1,400 a month is what we're going to estimate. And for Julie, it's a little bit less. It's going to be $700 a month. So that's going to be their estimate for Canada Pension Plan. Now, you can do a detailed estimate on the platform. We'd highly recommend doing that. But if we're just building a quick plan, that high-level estimate at age 65 is just perfect. Let's go over to upload documents. Nothing here that we need to enter in simple mode. Let's go also to the foundation section. We don't need emergency fund. We do need investment plan though, so we will add, we've got their 2% fee here, and we're going to add their asset allocation. So again, 80-20. So we're going to add the 80% there in equities, 20% in fixed income. This does give us an expected rate of return of 4%. This is lower because they've got that 2% investment fee. So we're going to explore that in one of those scenarios. And let's just flip that to simple. Future cash flow, we can see some of their future income assumptions. No earned income, so we've got nothing in earned income. But of course, we're going to have some investment withdrawals in the projection section. And then we've got CPP and OAS. We can see that it's quite sizable once it starts. We've got $42,000 a year. Unless they choose to delay, then it'll be even higher. But in simple mode, we don't need to use this section. CPP and OAS estimate does give us an idea of what that looks like, especially if you do a detailed CPP estimate. But in simple mode, we don't need to worry about it. Tax and benefit analysis, same thing. We'll flip it to simple. And insurance needs, we don't need to worry about that as well. They're already in retirement. So let's take a look at their initial projection. Let's see what that looks like for Jim and Julie. Now let's explore this first together, and then we'll start to iterate on this. We'll start to add some additional scenarios. So first glance, no AI strategies, no additional decumulation options selected. We can see that it is drawing down on registered assets first, leaving that TFSA to last. Makes a lot of sense. We've got CPP and OAS starting at age 65 here, a little bit less in the first year because of the date of births. And overall looks like a fairly decent plan, 73% success rate. Let's look at their spending. I've got that 96,000 a year all the way through, drops to 84,000 a year in mid-retirement, drops to 72,000 in late retirement. We're going until age 93. Overall net worth, not bad. We do see it declining over time, definitely due to those higher investment fees. They've got a good growth portfolio, but those fees are eating into their returns a little bit. And overall, it does look on average that they'll have some money left over. But if we go to success rate, we can see that in some historical periods of stock returns, bond returns, and inflation rates, there is a chance of running out of money. First major chance here at age 84, but overall 73% successful. So 73% of the time, they don't need to make a change to spending. They can achieve that target retirement spending, those 3 phases over time. But in 27% of those historical periods, we do need to make a change for Jim and Julie. Maybe we're not super worried about that because, again, they do have that home to fall back on. So there's over $1.2 million there that we could be using in the future, we could be tapping into. So not a bad starting point. Let's call this the base. This is the base plan, but let's start iterating on this plan. Let's see if we can improve this at all. So let's make a copy. And let's rename this copy. Let's say that this is the improved version. And let's see what we can do to improve the plan. Now we're going to go down here to the AI strategies. And in particular, we're going to focus on not retirement spending yet, not the survivor scenarios or the asset allocation. We're going to look at some of these decumulation options first. And what the platform is going to do is it's going to rank by after-tax estate value. We could rank by success rate, we could rank by lifetime tax, but we find that often ranking by those factors, we lose a little bit of the forest from the trees. So by using after-tax estate value, we can get a little bit of a better sense of all of the different factors in their plan. Old age security clawbacks, guaranteed income supplement benefits, the timing of tax payments, etc. So let's go through and let's select some of the top strategies that the platform is highlighting for us. The first one here is to delay CPP until age 70 for Jim. Assuming Jim's had good health, good longevity, let's select that here. We can see that it already adds more than $60,000 in after-tax estate value and does boost the success rate as well. So let's activate that one. Let's research through all of the different options. We've got now CPP at age 70 for Julie. That's the next best option. If we add that in, now they're over $100,000 higher than where they started, and success rate goes up again just a little bit. So let's do that. Let's enable that one. Let's look at old age security. Now, I don't love delaying old age security. I don't love it because it does require a long and healthy retirement to reach that break-even point. I would highly recommend taking a look at our CPP and old age security break-even videos. Great example of why maybe delaying old age security isn't a great option. But in this case, we do have a lot of registered assets. So maybe let's take a look at what the platform is recommending. Now, it's not a big difference here, but let's choose the top strategy, OAS at age 69 for Jim. Let's give ourselves a little bit more room to delay and get those registered assets out of the registered accounts. Interestingly, for Julie, it's recommending age 70, a little bit better than age 69. So let's do that here as well. And let's see what other strategies we have. So we've got a RSP to RIF conversion. Now, interestingly, it's pretty much the same between age 64, 60, 63, 61, likely because Julie will only get the pension income tax credit at age 65. So let's do it at age 64 so that we can get that pension income tax credit at age 65. And let's see what else we have here. Interesting. So now we're back to old age security at age 70 for Jim. So let's do that. So now they're both at age 70 between OAS and CPP benefits. And now we have an RSP to RIF conversion, just a slight improvement, but let's do that here as well. And let's see if there's anything else that pops out here. So I think we're at the top now. So this is the same value that we have for estate value. So this is the new and improved plan. Same spending goals, same investment fees, but now we're at a 78% success rate. We've added way over 100,000 to the estate value. Looks much better from an income perspective, good longevity protection. We've also pushed out that first chance of running out of money, an additional year to age 85. So that's a really good starting point as an improved plan, but maybe they're a bit worried about that 78% success rate. So let's create another scenario. Let's create another scenario with a safe level of retirement spending. So let's copy this one and let's rename it, and let's call this safe spending. And we want to do that because they're a little bit worried about that lower success rate. And so we want to figure out what's the safe level of retirement spending. We're going to come down here. We're going to filter on the modify retirement spending strategy. And we can see here, if we just reduce spending by $6,000 a year after retirement, we're up to a 94% success rate. So that is pretty good given they still have that home to fall back on. So let's enable that one and recalculate. So now we're at a $90,000 spending level in early retirement, 78 in mid, and 66 in late retirement. Lots of money if they get average investment returns, but in the safe scenario, we're really focused on those worst case scenarios. So here we can see, even in the worst case scenarios, the worst periods of the last 100, 120 years, we are still ending up with financial assets other than the worst 6% of periods. So very good plan, and they still have that home to fall back on as well. So from a safe spending perspective, it's actually very, very similar to what they're spending today. So this really proves that Jim and Julie have a very solid retirement plan. Now that's the safe level of spending, but what's the max level of spending? They want to spend more. That's really the goal here. So let's make a copy of this and let's create a max spending scenario. So let's call this max spending. We already saw what that initial improved version looks like. But now let's go down here to the AI strategies. We've already got it filtered on modify retirement spending. But now let's rank by lifetime spending. We were ranking by after-tax estate value, trying to improve that. But now we want to spend more. We want to reduce the after-tax estate value. And we can do that by maybe adding 30 to 24,000 a year in retirement spending. This might be a little bit too tight. So let's add 24,000 a year until age 75. That's a big number. So let's add that in and see what it looks like. So here we've got their retirement spending income here. We've got way more registered withdrawals, lots of tax in early retirement, a little bit more in TFSA withdrawals late retirement. They're definitely drawing down most of their financial assets. 56, 57% success rate. Big chance of running out of money by age 73. So they really can't do this in the worst case scenarios, but in the average or better, they definitely can spend this additional amount of money. So that looks pretty good, but let's revisit those AI strategies, because if you remember in the improved one, we had no TFSA contributions, no RSP meltdown, but let's revisit these to see if that has changed now. So let's check off everything but those ones that we don't want to look at. Let's take a look here at what the best after-tax estate value options are, and now there are some RSP meltdown options. So now we do want to maybe optimize that plan by spreading out those RSP withdrawals. Looks like we could do 52,000 a year here, so let's do that. And now let's see what Julie's got. Julie's got same RSP meltdown, 57,000 a year, so let's add that in. Now we're mixing withdrawals, so this looks much better. We're actually smoothing out tax much better over the course of retirement. RSP to RIF conversion for Julie at age 65. Slight change there, so let's activate that one. Let's see what else we get in terms of strategies. Oh, now we're at the top strategies already. So this is the new improved plan here. So we've got their spending, we've got their net worth, we've got their success rate, 65% still. That's relatively good. We've added 24,000 a year in early retirement spending, up to 114,000 a year. So that already looks really good. But let's go a bit further here. Let's take a look at that reduced investment fee option. Remember, they're paying 2%. 2% on that $2 million is $40,000 a year. So let's make a copy of this. Now we've got a higher spending scenario, but let's look at lower fees. So let's look at lower fees. And to do that in this one particular scenario, we're going to go down to advanced options. So let's change this, open up these two net return columns, and we're going to change the fees on the portfolio to an all-in-one ETF. 80-20 portfolio, lots of all-in-one ETF options. So let's assume Julie and Jim switch over to an all-in-one ETF rather than those high bank fees that they're currently paying. So 0.25% across the board, all the different accounts, and let's see what that looks like here. So this is only going to apply it in that one scenario. Let's look at overall net worth, 65% success rate. Let's see what reduced investment fees does, 86% success rate. Fantastic improvement to the plan. Overall net worth significantly higher here. That looks really good. I think we can actually add more spending here again. So let's make a copy of this again, and let's add some more spending. So let's say it's lower fees, but now plus more spending again. Let's take a look at what this looks like. Let's go down here. Now that we've lowered their investment fees, let's look back at modify retirement spending. Let's take a look at the increased spending options. We could do $30,000 a year in early retirement, but maybe we want to add another $12,000 a year all the way through. So let's do that. We already added a whole bunch in early retirement, $24,000 a year. This is going to add another 12 again. And we're going to increase that all the way through. And we do have a bit of a shortfall here. We can see it in a couple years. It's likely because we're using that TFSA to manage their retirement spending, manage their tax rate over the course of retirement. They might need to withdraw a little bit more from registered assets these few years here, but it does help them manage tax. So overall, pretty good plan. We are definitely spending down all of their retirement assets here, other than just a little bit towards the end. 55% success rate, really good spending, $132,000 a year now in early retirement, 96 in mid-retirement, 84 in late retirement. Certainly a little bit more tweaking we can do, but we've added a lot of retirement spending. 24 plus 12 is $36,000 in additional retirement spending in the go-go years for Jim and Julie. That's very attractive from a planning perspective. Now let's take a look at the compare chart. Let's actually compare some of these scenarios so we can see where we've come over time. So we're going over here to compare. Let's hide some of these scenarios. Let's go through what we had just done. So we had our base scenario here. Not bad, but not great. Then we improved it. We did some RSP meltdown. We delayed CPP and old age security. We ended up with $150,000 in additional retirement assets towards the end. We had our improved scenario. Then we did a safe spend scenario. So this is if they have some poor investment returns, we know what they need to do there. But if they have good investment returns, we've got our max spend. So we can spend more of those financial assets over time. So max spending, from there we went to the lower fee scenario. This added a lot of money to the plan by lowering those fees. Again, 2% fees on that $2 million portfolio has a really big impact. So lower fees looks much better. And then we added some additional spending again. So now we're really spending down their financial assets. If we look at overall spending down here in the table, so let's see, we had our base lifetime spending $2.9 million. If we go to lower fees plus more spending, $3.7 million. So significantly more lifetime spending just by optimizing that plan just a little bit. So very attractive plan, still a fairly good success rate. They know what they need to do if they want to have a higher success rate. So they've got that scenario created as well. And what has this taken us, like 20 minutes or so to build a plan from scratch and optimize it? So easy to do with the AI strategies. This video did go longer than I intended. There were just so many options to explore. I do thank you for watching if you've made it this far. I would love it if you like and subscribe, and of course comment if you have ideas for additional case studies. We'd love to see them. We'd love to do more of these types of videos. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you at the next one.